This is the mini thesis presentation presented by Muhammad Ibrahim.
In aviation industry, safety depends not only on technology and procedures, but also on how people communicate under pressure. When cabin crew members come from different cultural backgrounds, even small misunderstanding may affect teamwork and operational flow. So, this is the core issue explored in my thesis proposal. Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Muhammad Ibrahim from Global Business and Communication Management, batch 22. Today, I would like to present my thesis proposal entitled Cultural Intelligence of Cross-Cultural Communication Breakdowns Among International Cabin Crew Members at JETSTAR Airways, a focused qualitative analysis. This study explores how cross-cultural communication breakdowns happen among international cabin crew and how cultural intelligence or CQ may help reduce or mitigate those breakdowns in operational settings. Let's get started. The background of the study. The aviation industry is one of the most globally connected industries in the world. It supports mobility, business, tourism, and cultural exchange on a massive scale. Even though aviation is considered one of the safest forms of transportation, human factors remain highly important in maintaining safety and operational quality. One of those human factors is communication. In aviation, communication is not only about giving information, but also about ensuring safety compliance, teamwork, passenger service, and emergency coordination. Because of that, communication breakdowns can create problems not only in service quality, but also in operational effectiveness. So, why this topic matters? At the same time, cabin crew teams are becoming more multicultural. Airlines increasingly recruit personnel from different nationality and cultural backgrounds in order to support international operations and serve diverse passengers. JETSTAR Airways is one example of this trend. As an international airline operating in the Asian Pacific region, JETSTAR involves multinational cabin crew members from backgrounds such as Indonesian, Singaporean, Thai, and Australian. This diversity brings advantages such as cultural sensitivity and language support, but it also creates challenge. Different communication norms, tones, interpretation of hierarchy, and behavioral expectations may lead to misunderstanding between crew members. The research problem and the gap. Many previous studies discuss intercultural communication in aviation, but most of them focus more on service quality or communication between crew and passengers. There is still limited direct research on international crew-to-crew communication breakdowns, especially in the context of multinational cabin crew in low-cost international airlines such as JETSTAR Airways. This is the gap that my study tries to address. I want to focus specifically on how communication breakdowns happen among crew members themselves and how cultural intelligence may help reduce those breakdowns. Based on that background, this study has two main research questions. The first one, what forms of cross-cultural communication breakdowns are experienced by international cabin crew members at JETSTAR Airways? And the second one is, how does cultural intelligence or CQ influence international cabin crew's ability to manage and reduce cross-cultural communication breakdowns in their operational environment? These two questions are designed to identify both the problem and possible adaptive mechanism. And this is the research objectives. In line with those research questions, this study has two objectives. The first one, to detect and categorize cross-cultural communication breakdowns experienced by JETSTAR Airways international cabin crew, And the second one, to examine how cultural intelligence can help mitigate communication issues in a diverse cabin crew workplace. So, the study is not only descriptive but also interpretative because it seeks to understand how breakdowns occur and how they are managed. The significance of the study. The study has both academic and practical significance. Academically, it contributes to the study of intercultural communication and cultural intelligence within the field of aviation human factors. It also connects communication theory with real operational experience in the airline industry. Practically, the findings may help airlines improve training programs related to cross-cultural communication, cultural intelligence, teamwork, and safety. The study may also support management in developing policies that strengthen collaboration and service consistency in multicultural flight operation. The scope and the limitations. This study focuses on international cabin crew personnel of JETSTAR Airways who have experience working in multicultural flight environments. The participants are limited to 5 current cabin crew members from different operational and cultural backgrounds, specifically Indonesian, Singaporean, Thai, and Australian. The study only covers international flights and excludes domestic operations. In addition, participants must have at least 1 year of international flight experience. The analysis focuses on communication and relationship among crew teams, especially from the perspective of cultural interaction and cognitive abilities. The literature review. The literature review shows that previous studies have linked cultural intelligence with communication adjustment, lower anxiety, stronger teamwork, and reduced conflict in multicultural working environments. In aviation-related contexts, studies also suggest that communication competence, emotional regulation, and intercultural sensitivity influence how crew members function in diverse operational settings. However, as I mentioned earlier, most prior studies still emphasize service interaction or broad intercultural competence. Fewer studies specifically analyze international communication breakdowns among multinational cabin crew members. That is why this study is positioned to fill that gap. Next, let's talk about theoretical framework. The first theory used in this study is anxiety uncertainty management theory proposed by Gadikans. This theory explains that successful intercultural communications depends on a person's ability to manage two things. First, anxiety, which refers to emotional discomfort, and second, uncertainty, which refers to cognitive ambiguity when interacting with people from different cultural backgrounds. In aviation settings, this theory is very relevant because cabin crew work under pressure with time constraints, safety rules, and hierarchical structures. This means that communication breakdowns may happen not only because of language differences, but also because people feel unsure, tense, or unable to predict how others will react. The second theory is Cultural Intelligence Theory or CQ theory developed by Ang and Van Dine. Cultural intelligence refers to a person's ability to function effectively in culturally diverse settings. It includes 4 dimensions: metacognitive CQ, cognitive CQ, motivational CQ, and behavioral CQ. For international cabin crew, CQ is very important because it helps them interpret cultural cues, adjust communication style, remain open to difference, and respond more appropriately in multicultural teamwork. In this study, CQ is used to explain why some cabin crew members may be more effective in managing or reducing communication breakdowns compared to others. The next one is about the conceptual framework. The conceptual framework of this study begins with the multicultural crew environment, where crew members interact across different languages, norms, tones, and expectations. These intercultural triggers may create anxiety and uncertainty. As explained by AUM theory, when these are not managed well, they may lead to cross-cultural communication breakdowns. However, these breakdowns may be reduced or mitigated by cultural intelligence, especially through awareness, knowledge, motivation, and behavioral adaptation. The final outcome is communication adaptation, improved teamwork, and smoother operational flow. Talking about the research paradigm and method, this study uses a qualitative paradigm because it focuses on subjective meaning, lived experience, and contextual interpretation. The research method is descriptive interpretative qualitative research. This method allows me to describe participants' experiences and also interpret how they make sense of those experiences in multicultural operational contexts. This is important because cross-cultural communication breakdowns are not simply measurable events. They are also shaped by feelings, interpretation, and social context. The data collection and technique. The primary data in this study comes from semi-structured offline interview with 5 current international cabin crew members of JETSTAR Airways. The participants must have at least 1 year of international flight experience and experience working in multicultural teams. The secondary data includes supporting sources such as aviation communication manuals, academic literatures, ICAO and IATA human factors documentation, and non-confidential public documents. The interviews are audio recorded with permissions and transcribed verbatim in order to support accurate analysis. The research focus and data analysis. This study focuses on 2 central areas. First, it examines cross-cultural communication breakdowns using the lens of AUM theory. Second, it analyzes the role of cultural intelligence in managing and reducing those breakdowns through the lens of CQ theory. For the data analysis, this study uses Miles and Haberman's interactive model, which consists of data collections, data redactions, data displays, and conclusions. Theoretical indicators from AUM and CQ are used as sensitizing concepts, meaning they guide the analysis without forcing the findings into rigid categories. Ethical considerations and limitations. In terms of ethics, this study ensures informed consent, voluntary participations, the use of pseudonyms, and the protections of confidentiality. Sensitive personal attributes and confidential airlines information are excluded from the research. This study also has several limitations, such as participant availability due to airline rostering, the non-generalizable nature of qualitative findings, and confidentiality boundaries related to airline operations. In conclusion, this research is expected to contribute both theoretically and practically by explaining how cross-cultural communication breakdowns occur among international cabin crew and how cultural intelligence may function as an important adaptive resource in reducing those breakdowns. Thank you for watching everyone, and bye-bye.